This is the Saint's Journey. We are dedicated to encouraging spiritual growth. In each of our series, we look to the biblical text to connect the gospel to our daily lives. Let's jump in. Hey, welcome back to the Saint's Journey. For many of us, one of the most challenging things in life is to trust those that are in our life that they are going to follow through on their word. I mean, even those that are kind of in our inner circle and those that have the best intentions for us, they can still let us down. And as I think about that, I think that sometimes those life experiences and the lack of trust that we have in humanity sometimes affect our trust that we have in Yahweh. So it's for that reason I want to share with you our next name, or our next given name to God. It's going to be YHWH Yireh. It means the Lord will provide. I want you to go with me into Genesis chapter 22, and I want to show you a story that provides this given name to the Lord. Genesis chapter 22, beginning in verse 1, says, "After these things, God tested Abraham, and he said to him, 'Abraham, here I am,' he answered. He says, 'Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love. Go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I will tell you about.' After that, Abraham and Isaac go on a 3-day journey, and we pick up in the story in verse 10. It says, "Then Abraham reached out and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, 'Abraham, Abraham.' He replied, 'Here I am.' Then he said, 'Do not lay a hand on the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your only son from me.' Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that place, 'The Lord will provide.' So today it is said, 'It will be provided on the Lord's mountain.'" That word, Yireh, it actually comes from a Hebrew root word that means to see to it or to provide. And so not only is this story way over the top, but it makes us all wonder, how in the world could Abraham bring himself to this place and show us such profound obedience of knowing that God would provide, or that he would see to it that everything would happen in such a way that his son wouldn't be harmed? Well, the answer is actually found in the New Testament. The Hebrew writer in Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 19, it says this. It says, "He considered God to be able even to raise someone from the dead." Now this is super interesting, and perhaps for another time. But on that same mountain, the mountain that Abraham believed his son could be raised from the dead, is the same mountain that Jesus is crucified and he is raised from the dead. But as I look upon this story in Genesis chapter 22, to me, the reason that Abraham could follow through is because he has seen the track record of the Lord working in his life. It wasn't just this one event that Abraham showed up and had all of this faith and all of this trust that God could provide something for him. See, in his life, Yahweh had provided a land to live in. Yahweh had given him protection from the Egyptians when he went down to Egypt with the famine in the land of Canaan. He had given him prosperity, and at the age of 100, as we've covered in another video, the Lord, Yahweh, gave him and his wife Sarah a fulfilled promise in a child. To me, the takeaway from the name YHWH Yireh is this. When we are living in the middle of life situations that seem to make zero sense to us, we need to remember the Lord's track record in our life. All of the times in the past when Yahweh has provided for us. We need to trust that even though we do not understand, like certainly Abraham couldn't have understood why he had been given this command, but there was a trust there that we need to have that the Lord will see to it, that whatever promises he has made to us in our lives, they will always, always be kept. There are so many times in our lives, friends, that something bad happens or something happens that seems very dramatic and draining on our mental life. And we cry out to the Lord and we say, why, Lord? Or how could this happen to me? Or look at all the good things that I've done for you and all the years that I've followed you, and you know how much I love you, Lord. And instead of focusing on the millions of blessings that the Lord has given us over all of the years of our life, we'll focus on this one time or this one event or even this one tragedy that perhaps has happened in our lives. See, Abraham had continued to live his life with his ups and his downs, his obedience and his disobedience. But what led him to the point of being able to follow a command to sacrifice his son as a burnt offering was remembering that the Lord had never let him down. And as the Hebrew writer said, in Abraham's mind, there's no way that God would give me this child and make all these promises to me just to take his life and steal all this away from me. See, Abraham knew even if he had to go through with the sacrificing of his only son, he knew that the Lord would do whatever it took to provide and raise him back from the dead. And so to us as followers of Yahweh today, I would ask us to look back on our past and see all that the Lord has done for humanity and all that the Lord has done for you in your life. And then work from that and understand that Yahweh Yireh, he is the God that will see to it in your life, that will provide in your life. Even when it seems like chaos, there can be shalom and peace in the Lord that provides for us. I hope that you will join us again next week as we continue looking at another name of God and another motivation to keep trusting in Yahweh. But until next time, keep seeking as you continue your journey.